Get it on. Got to get it on. Mandate, get it on, Joe Young. Welcome to the second Fantasy Veterans Podcast. I am Gabe Lawrence, and this is my counterpart,
Joe Young.
We would like to start the show off with what we're about. I'm going to pass the baton to you because this is your vision. You are the one who started this, and you are the guy who called me 7 weeks ago, or texted me and said, do you want to do a podcast? So you tell me why you said that.
Okay, so we've been in a fantasy football keeper league for about 10 years. We've got some great fantasy insight. I felt like we're doing the research anyway. Let's just put it on audio and help some other people out, right? It was a crazy idea, and I felt like we can do it. But the next day, I didn't really feel like I wasn't fired up. So I was looking to donate to charities a few weeks later, or a few days later, and I've donated to veterans charities. So I'm looking at this veterans charity, Children of Fallen Soldiers Relief Fund, which gives scholarships and financial aid to military families who have lost their loved ones, right? Whose military member had paid the ultimate sacrifice in Iraq or Afghanistan. So if I died, I'm in the military, you're in the military. If we died, we would want to have these resources to have our families put the pieces back together. So I started to think, is there a way to utilize a fantasy football podcast to raise money for these charities? Because yes, you can donate directly, but I feel like we can raise a lot more money if we were to use a platform such as the Fantasy Football Podcast to raise money towards these charities, because you get ad revenue. And we decided that, hey, we're going to use ad revenue, 25% of any profits we gain from this podcast, to give back to veterans charities. So that's what we're going to do. That got me fired back up about the podcast. I pitched that idea to Gabe the Hammer Lawrence, and Gabe the Hammer Lawrence said, yes, you listening to us, that is helping out our cause, right? And helping out veterans charities.
No, I love the fact that you care enough that you'll help other people out. I remember you telling me that you've donated to charities here or there, and that made me want to donate. I had only one reason that I listened to podcasts. His name's Adam Carolla, Ace Man, Adam the Lakers Carolla. This guy
is that his middle name?
Motto,
the Lakers?
No. He tried out, or he applied for a driver's license. I think he put Lakers in the middle of it just to be funny, and they let him have it. So he has like a identification saying his name is Adam Lakers Carolla. So I just wanted to say, also, he has a little motto that he says, he plugs, don't do your best, do my best. So he has a lot of people that he employs, and they probably don't do the right thing, or in his mind the right thing. So he tries to tell them that. He put on a coffee mug, a shirt. I got a coffee mug at work that I have that has it. But so the opening, when I said get it on, mandate, get it on, that was an homage to him. I'm telling you, this guy is the podfather. The guy he didn't start it all, but he was the guy who evolved it all. He came from humble beginnings, Joe. Yeah, I've talked to you before. I said right now he has an empire in his podcast, where he started off with one where he just talks. Now he has one Ace on the House, one about cars, one with the lawyer, one with Dr. Drew. I mean, this guy multitasks like nobody's business. He has a beer that's an IPA. He has something called Mangria, which I celebrated New Year's Eve with. Oh. If you put it on ice, it's delectable. He has 4 books that were on the New York Times bestseller. He has 2 movies that he funded himself, Road Hard and The Hammer. And he has 2 documentaries that he's come out with in the past year and a half. The Winning Life of Paul Newman and the 24-Hour War. So that's what I know. Now, the average fan would say, oh, that's Adam Carolla from Loveline, The Man Show, Crank Yanger's Death on the Family Guy. Adam Carolla has what he calls a pirate ship. His pirate ship is sailing. He owns it, so he does things how he wants to, and nobody can make him stop. Now, what we have together right now, because we just started, is a paddle boat. It's just the 2 of us in a paddle boat, working out our calves and sailing the seas. So before we get into football, I have a heavy heart. I wanted to tell you that I have a cousin in California whose daughter has cancer, and she's 3 years old. She's been fighting this And if there's anything I can do to help, we've been talking about charities. We want to donate to veteran charities, but I can't help but name drop this. I have a cousin who has a 3-year-old daughter who's fighting cancer. She sends pictures that are just amazing. This girl has such a great spirit. She didn't even want to start a GoFundMe page, but her other sister did it just because she knew she needed the help. So I'm going to post this on our YouTube page, and I'm going to post this on our Facebook page. But I want to tell you right now, I don't even care if the people listening, even though we don't have a large fan base, even contribute. I just want them to read the story, look at pictures of this little girl, and just, if nothing else, appreciate the fact that they have health. So I'm sorry I have to be a buzzkill and do that, but let's move on. I want to go on to football.
No, it's fine. Yeah.
We're doing fantasy because most fantasy has ended, but we're going to do daily fantasy sports because we're into the playoffs. We started this late. You asked me 7 weeks ago. Last week, which would have been 6 weeks ago after you asked me, we said we are going to put out one end of the year routine. We're going to hibernate, sleep on it, and then start at the beginning of the season. Unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you look at it, we put that out on YouTube, and we had 350 views, and we thought that was pretty good. And since we're behind the 8 ball, and these other people had a head start, we said, hey, let's keep this momentum going. So let's go. Here we go. There's 4 games this week. The first game is Oakland. I take away, you take home. Are you prepared, or you want me to go first?
If you want to go first, yeah, go for it.
All right. So I want to go first because maybe you might say Brock Osweiler, you play him. First off, I almost can't even pronounce his name. Second off, he's a bum. I don't care what you say. That guy chased money in Houston. He should have stayed at Denver. If he was at Denver, they'd be in the playoffs right now. I just wanted to mention that before you go. I apologize if I stepped on your foot if you say you should play him, but I will hit the power button on my computer right now if you say you start him. But okay, so here's the people I'm going to play. I have Oakland, the away teams. Connor Cook. He's a long shot. They're starting him. I mean, Carr might be able to come back if they make it to the Super Bowl, which isn't going to happen. You know that. I know that. Connor Cook, if you start him, if you're in a daily fantasy league, then you're crazy. Because first off, in a daily fantasy league, if people don't know this, you can spend X amount of dollars on certain players, and then that dollar amount gets taken out of your pool. So there's a possibility you'll run out of money, so you got to spend your money wisely. So I'm saying right now, Brock Osweiler, if you play him, well, you're a bum as well. Connor Cook, long shot. There's 2 people I would definitely play, and this is a coin flip. If I was Two-Face from Batman, I would flip a coin and say it's either Cooper or Crabtree. They're both $100 difference in DraftKings. So you flip that coin, but between you and me, I'm not going to flip a coin. And I'm going to tell you, you play Crabtree just because he's more of a possession receiver and they look for him in the end zone. I like Latavius Murray if he's the right price for you. Once again, this is one of those dollar value things where you take it and take away from your total amount of money. So, Joe, go.
So, yeah, when we're talking about daily fantasy, you do not want to pick many players on the Houston Texans normally. And that rings true in this game as well. However, in daily fantasy, you've got to take some risks. If you're in a huge tournament, you got to find some value, and you got to play some players that not a whole lot of people are playing. You got to separate yourself. So in that sense, if you're looking for a long shot, Brock Osweiler has a chip on his shoulder. He's looking to prove that he's not just somebody who they picked up who's not going to produce. He's playing for his job and his livelihood, right? He's got a home field game. He's in a dome, and he's got some amazing receivers around him, right? The Raiders have a great defense around Khalil Mack, but their secondary, I would say, is exploitable. So I'm looking for Brock Osweiler to light it up today, actually. I say he defends home field. He's $5,100 on DraftKings. That is the second lowest price you can pay for a quarterback right now. Aaron Rodgers is $7,900. He's the highest price quarterback on DraftKings. Brock Osweiler, $5,100. Pay for him, and you can splurge in other places for your wide receivers and your flex. So he could surprise you. I'm looking for a big game from him. Okay, that probably goes contrary to what everybody says. I'm looking for 2 touchdowns and 279 yards from Brock Osweiler. And he's going to throw 1 touchdown to DeAndre Hopkins. And he's going to throw another one to Lamar Miller, actually. So he's going to get it done today. And which brings me to the next point. Lamar Miller, he's been disappointing the entire year, much like DeAndre Hopkins. Probably the 2 biggest disappointments of the fantasy season. However, in this game, he gets it going. The Houston Texans want to play the Super Bowl on their home field. That's not going to happen, but they can put up a fight in this one game, right? They're not going to make it. They're not going to win 2 games, but they might win 1 game. With Derek Carr being injured and Connor Cook playing his first ever game, I think that they can bully the Raiders a bit here. So I say the Raiders can't hang with them that much. Lamar Miller gets a touchdown on the ground and through the air. And you look for 100 yards on the ground for Lamar Miller and 50 yards through the air for 3 receptions. And he has 2 touchdowns, 1 receiving and 1 rushing. That's the only 2 players I would really think about playing. Other than DeAndre Hopkins, you might play him. But yeah. You can get some surprising, sneaky, good play from Lamar Miller. And at a $6,100 price tag on DraftKings, you can't go wrong. Compare that to a $10,300 Le'Veon Bell at the number 1 spot. Get you some Lamar Miller today. You will not be disappointed.
Good call, bud.
Yeah.
I just want to say something really quick. I said if you contradict what I said, I'm going to turn off my computer. You're lucky I did. No, I was just joking. That's why I shouldn't comment on somebody from the other team, because this is going to be worth $1 in our swear jar, Joe. Thanks for hitting on my point, because Brock Osweiler is not going to do anything. He's
we can't agree on everything on the calls. We can agree on other things. No. We cannot agree on everything on the calls.
No. I totally agree. Take this in the spirit it's intended, but I can't wait to see who's right. And that's why from here on out, I will not mention anybody on the team that you have to say. I shouldn't. Right. I don't know why I did it. I went out on a
I was like, what are you doing here? This is me.
I shouldn't have. Okay. Let's carry on. Right. You'll bleep out what I said when I said scenario $2. Yeah. But I don't agree. But that's why this is great. This is why this is fantasy analysis. This is why people put themselves out there. Just say what you think.
Yeah, about your team.
Other people can agree, and they can be confident with what you say, or else they can't. Yeah. You know, anybody can do this. You know what I mean? I'll throw a dart at a dartboard and say I'm going to hit the number 20, but if I don't, hey, I tried. But I'm telling you right now, fantasy analysis is not easy. It's like betting on sports. That's why even the best in the game can't make 50% of their bets correctly. Let's carry on. I apologize for interrupting you and almost turning off my computer and saying you. I won't say that word because it will cost me $3 at this point. So let's go on to Detroit. All right, you go first.
All right. So I've got the Seattle Seahawks and you've got the Detroit Lions. What the over/under on this game is 44, and Detroit is a 8-point underdog. Playing in Seattle, the weather in Seattle right now is 37 degrees. And it is, it's overcast, right? 37 degrees is still kind of cold. Not like what you're going to see in Green Bay, but it is still cold, but not too cold to where you wouldn't see a lot of pass plays. Russell Wilson, he's going to get you 300 yards in the air. It's going to get you 55 yards on the ground. He's going to call his own number from the 10, run one in for a touchdown. He's passing for 2 touchdowns. One to Doug Baldwin and one to Jimmy Graham. So start Russell Wilson. He is quite pricey on DraftKings. His current price is $7,000. So he's $900 under Aaron Rodgers, but I think that he's playing in favorable conditions considering the other games, and he's playing against a suspect Detroit Lions defense. So I would pay $7,000 on DraftKings for Russell Wilson, and I would also pay for Thomas Rawls. Thomas Rawls will get you 100 yards on the ground, and he'll get you a touchdown. So he has been strong lately. He had a outstanding few games since he's come back from injury, and look for him to get it done. And like I said, Doug Baldwin and Jimmy Graham. Doug Baldwin's going to get you 120 yards and one touchdown, and Jimmy Graham, he will give you 6 catches for 90 yards.
Okay, can I say something really quick? And we're not going to edit this out. I want to be truthful.
Yeah.
I don't appreciate that you're so darn specific, because I'm going to tell you right now, what I would say is Jimmy Graham plays for Seattle. Mm-hmm. that's how specific I would get. But yet you're going to tell me people are going to be out on the certain end zone, rush for first down, do this or that. And I'm just like, dude. Okay, you're an overachiever, but that's okay. Let me carry on. And this is why I'm an underachiever. You know who I picked for Detroit? You guess it, Joe. Who did I pick for Detroit?
Not bronze, not silver, but gold?
Not Matthew Stafford. Not Matthew Stafford. You know he has a hurt throwing hand, middle finger. But go ahead, carry on.
Golden Tate. You're picking Golden Tate.
I'm going to tell you who I'm going to pick. And they might not be on DraftKings, but I'm going to pick Ameer Abdullah. The only reason why I'm going to pick Ameer Abdullah is because, Joe, have you ever looked at his girlfriend? I got nobody from the Lions I like. I have nobody. I wish I did. I tried my hardest. I bent over backwards. Yeah. I did analysis. I did schematics. I had an algorithm trying to figure out dollar values for people away, and I couldn't come up with anything.
No, it's very hard.
And then I started looking at certain players, and I said, so running back Lions, and all of a sudden, Ameer Abdullah's girlfriend's picture showed up on my computer, Joe. This wasted at least 47 minutes of my time, Joe. I started. You know how you go down the rabbit hole?
It's like Wikipedia rabbit hole.
You
go on Wikipedia and you don't know where you started 6 hours later. That's Ameer Abdullah.
I wish I didn't, Joe. I wish I didn't run into this problem. But there are pictures of her and Ameer Abdullah spelunking. There are pictures of them on vacation. They were in college. She's a Wisconsin runner. They had pictures of her swimming. Joe, I spent 47 minutes looking at this guy's girlfriend. And I'm telling you what, she's a very attractive woman. But if you can find her on DraftKings, I highly doubt you can. But if you can, you spend the money on Ameer Abdullah's girlfriend and nobody else. Because nobody else from Detroit's team is going to do squad. Douche. So I'm telling you right now, look her up. I can't remember her last name, but her first name's Georgia, I think. Actually, I know her first name's Georgia. Who am I kidding? I tried to act like I didn't know. Even if you went into if you went into my Google and typed a G, it would resolve everything else and I'd look like a perv. But I'm telling you right now, Ameer Abdullah's girlfriend, jeez Louise, he did well. Congratulations, Ameer. If I could play your girlfriend in DraftKings, I would. So let's go on to the next game. All right, so the next game is Miami versus, help me out here.
Miami is playing the Steelers.
All right, so you have the Steelers, and the reason why I didn't know that is because I only put the teams I'm playing. I have the away teams. I take Miami. You know, I was extra hard on Matt Moore last week.
For good reason.
I feel like a jerk. Yeah, I really was. It was great reason. I always back up what I'm thinking, such as Ameer Abdullah's girlfriend. Look her up. So Matt Moore, I'm telling you right now, just because if this was a normal fantasy league, which we were talking about 2 weeks ago, you don't even touch him.
Mm-mm.
I would not even come. If I had a 10-foot pole, I wouldn't touch him. But I'm telling you right now, we're talking about daily fantasy sports where you spend money on a certain player and you have money left over to put to another player, right? So, you know I'm a bargain shopper. Every time I shop, I look for that circle rack with clearance items, and I dress my daughter up in plaid for one reason or another, but it saves me $7. So I always look for the cheap buy, and I'm telling you right now, Matt Moore is your cheap buy this week.
Oh.
This guy has had 8 touchdowns in the last 3 games. He's the same price as your boy Osweiler, who I was making fun of earlier, who you love, I hate, and I'm telling you right now, let's make a gentleman's bet, but I'm telling you, I hope I'm right because I'm putting it out there. But Matt Moore is the guy that you buy at, what'd you say, $5,100?
$5,100.
Yes. So I'm telling you right now, if you're going to spend $5,100, the best person you can buy is Matt Moore. Everybody's listening to this. Look it up. I don't even know what's going to happen, and neither do you, but let's see. Because that's how crazy and difficult fantasy sports are, but you have to have an opinion.
Yes.
But, okay. So the other guy who I've been talking about is Joseph Ajayi. I wish my daughter was in this room right now because she would laugh as I say the name Ajayi. I told you 10 days ago, I don't like the consonant to vowel ratio.
Mm-hmm.
I still don't, Joe. I said don't play him 10 days ago, and then he went off for 200 yards the next day. And you know what? Hey, I'm playing the percentages because I'm a gambler. Don't play him because he will not do that. The 4 games before that, he didn't rush for over 70 yards. Believe that. Okay, so don't play Joseph Ajayi. And then the last person is Jarvis Landry. You know how I feel about Jarvis Landry? I'm telling you right now, Jarvis Landry, they're going to use him. He's their best offensive player. You think Joseph Ajayi is? Get out of here. He is not their best offensive player. Like I said, he didn't rush for over 70 yards in the past 4 games. You play Jarvis Landry if you have the opportunity because he's a value bet. And I was looking, and I had to scroll down far to find him. I don't know if I wrote down the value or the amount of money you had to pay for him. I did not. But I'm telling you right now, he is the kind of guy you want because he could have 1 reception. He could turn a 6-yard reception into a 57-yard touchdown. I apologize for taking so long. Joe, you got your Steelers up? You're on
Yeah. Do you mind if I comment on Jarvis Landry?
No, you better not, Joe, because we already have our one bet, and I would hate other people to realize we're contradicting each other. We shouldn't comment.
I'm not going to talk about how good or bad he is. I'm just going to talk about that flyer.
If you say he went to like the same college as Odell Beckham, I don't know what they did. I thought they had something in common. They have the same type hair, maybe else. But yes, comment away. I apologize. Joe, you know
simmer down.
You know I get all fired up. You know I get all fired up.
All right. So Jarvis Landry is growing on me. I'll tell you what.
What?
Oh, he is. So I was watching the 4-letter yesterday, and he was eating breakfast at a breakfast joint with ESPN reporter, and he had a shirt on, and it was like a jersey shirt. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like a V-neck, like polyester shirt. And
Joe, if there's one guy that knows V-necks, you know it's me.
And that's why I brought it up, right?
You make fun of me all the time because that's all I wear normally.
Yeah.
Once again, on my point, there's another dollar I owe. But normally I wear V-necks, and I'm not wearing a V-neck right now. But if you go on my Facebook page, I guarantee 9 out of 10 pictures I'll be wearing a V-neck.
And camo shorts.
That too. Oh, I'm so predictable.
No, you can't. No, you can't wear camo shorts enough. I can't get enough of them.
I can't wait till you pay me money for Osweiler. But go ahead.
Yeah. Why did I pick Osweiler? He's so terrible.
No, you got it, man. Go ahead, carry on.
Okay, so he had a name. He had one word on his shirt. Savage. And I know how much you like the name Savage, right? Just like it's like your second favorite name next to Hammer. So that piqued my interest once I saw Savage on his shirt. I was like, well, I guess I got to continue watching. And I learned a lot about him, right? One thing is he was a linebacker in high school. He led his team in tackles with 190-ish tackles, and that's why he's acting like he's Hines Ward out there, right? He's just trucking people. He doesn't care. He doesn't avoid contact. He doesn't shy away. So I like that pick, right? I like it even more after I saw that little segment on him on the 4-letter yesterday.
Was he really a linebacker?
He was a linebacker.
That's impressive.
Yeah,
that reminds me of my beach football days where I used to be a linebacker.
We might have time at the end for that.
No, we don't have time to talk about our beach football days.
All right.
No, go ahead. We're on a strict schedule. We talked about. Carry on.
Yeah. So, right. I like the Steelers. I really do. However, you're not going to get any kind of value picking the Steelers in DraftKings, unfortunately. Everybody's priced as high as they could possibly be. Antonio Brown, $9,400, the most expensive receiver. I don't think he's worth it today. It's going to be cold. It's going to be, what is the weather like in Pittsburgh? Drum roll, please. 14 degrees and mostly cloudy. At game time, it's approaching probably around 2 degrees, and it probably feels like -5. So it's gonna be hard for those receivers to keep them hands warm, right? They've got the heaters near the bench, and they're wearing big old jackets, parkas, but it's not gonna be enough, right? Even though he's gonna have those sticky gloves on, I don't think that you're gonna get your value. He'll do well. He's not doing $9,400 on DraftKings well. I promise you that. So I say Antonio Brown. You know what? If you wanna blow all your money on him, I'd go for it. You could do worse, but $9,400 for 6 catches and 78 yards and no touchdowns, I wouldn't go for it. Right? I take my chances on a long shot that's much cheaper in Eli Rogers. Eli Rogers is coming in at $4,000 on DraftKings. He's starting to come on strong in the past couple of games. Look for a couple deep shots in a cold game to Eli Rogers, right? He doesn't need to be in there the whole time. Come off the bench, get in there, run a 9 route, take the top off the defense, Eli Rogers. So that's your value pick for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and get him. So the only other player I want to talk about on this team is Le'Veon Bell. He is the most expensive player in DraftKings of any position, $10,300. But you know what? I'm paying for him. I'm putting all my money. My team is centered around Le'Veon Bell in this game, right? My entire DraftKings lineup. I don't care who else I have. I'm getting Le'Veon Bell on my team because he's getting you 2 touchdowns on the ground and 145 yards rushing. He's going to give you an additional 50 yards receiving on 5 receptions. And when you get points per reception like you do in DraftKings, as well as yards, he's going to outscore every other skill position this week by far. And in a cold game, you're going to see a whole lot of Le'Veon Bell. And I say the Steelers go up big because they're so angry about losing to the Miami Dolphins, where Jay Ajayi rumbled for over 200 yards on them. That's not going to happen again. Put your money on that. So those are my 4 players.
Good call. I like how you are specific once again, because I feel like such a off.
No.
Like, I wish I was more specific, but I think that might be your thing, because it's like you're clairvoyant. Like, I saw you had an out-of-body experience. I didn't even see I only saw the white of your eyes. Like, you somehow envisioned what's going to happen, but let's carry on. Do we have one more game, or is that it?
We've got another game.
Oakland, Detroit. Okay, yeah, the last one is New York Giants and Green Bay. Okay, so you did that. I did Miami. You did Steelers. Now I'm on the Giants clock. Okay, so I'm glad I put an L in there. Okay, so Eli Manning. Family show. All right, so Eli Manning, like I said with M. Moore, he is the second best value for what you get. He's $1,000 more than M. Moore, and I would buy, if you're not going to buy M. Moore, you buy Eli Manning. Obviously, he has ODB. He's a great player. The only reason why I didn't say I'd take ODB with these oncoming sentences is because he was very expensive. If you want to go for him, but you're going to hurt yourself in every other position. You'll have less money for tight end, wide receiver, running back, defense. So Eli Manning is the second best value out of all the quarterbacks. Luckily enough, he was on my selections. Okay, so Rashad Jennings, you know I'm a big fan of his, Joe.
You are.
I put money on him 3 years ago to lead the league in rushing, and I even took some of your money and made you put it on him. But
for nothing.
All right. Hey, you want me to tell you about that stock you made me invest in that lost me like $2,000? Okay, let's carry on. Okay, so I'm a big fan of Rashad Jennings. That being said, his days are over. He played for the Jaguars. He had a couple good rushing seasons. He got drafted late. I like those guys who hustle, and that's what I got. Joe, you're on the clock.
Nice. I like those picks. So I'm looking for value, right? But you wanna spend a lot of money in some areas, And so you can splurge on the important areas, and you got to exploit matchups, right? So I'm loving almost every matchup against with the Green Bay Packers wide receivers. The Giants, they've been coming on strong actually lately on their defense. But against Aaron Rodgers at home in Green Bay, I'm putting my money on all of the receivers on the Green Bay Packers. All right, so what do we have here? The players I want to talk about: Aaron Rodgers, Ty Montgomery. I want to talk about Jared Cook and the three receivers: Jordy Nelson, Davante Adams, and Randall Cobb. Right now, Randall Cobb's coming back from injury, and he is currently my number one value pick of the week. Go ahead and guess what his price is on DraftKings, Gabe.
Randall Cobb, I'm going to say $6,200.
$4,000.
If I'm
$4,000.
Wow. No, seriously, I really thought he was in the 6,000 for sure.
Yeah.
This guy was a top 15 pick at the beginning of the season, I would have thought.
Yeah. I think DraftKings, they slept on this one. So if you want to win your tournament, get you some Randall Cobb, right? People
say it again. Who?
Randall Cobb.
All right.
Okay.
I like it.
So $4,000. You can get okay value with Davante Adams. He's rising, right? He's got $5,600 price tag. And you know what? That's not too bad either. When you compare that to Antonio Brown, who's at $9,400, $5,600, that's not bad at all. So you can get yourself quite the well-rounded team by picking up Randall Cobb and or Davante Adams. And if you wanna save some money there and do a stack, hey, get you Davante Adams, Randall Cobb, and go ahead and pay top dollar for Aaron Rodgers, who's $7,900. Right? Aaron Rodgers gets you 3 touchdowns. He's going to get you 325 yards. He's triggering bonuses. Okay. Jordy Nelson, he's hit and miss. He's got a lot of touchdowns, but I don't see him having a great game this week. He's $8,000, and I see him having a similar game to Davante Adams, but I wouldn't pay, $2,400 more for him. I just can't do it. So I'm taking, if it's between the two, I'm taking a value pick with Davante Adams, and I'm stacking him with Randall Cobb and Aaron Rodgers. Watch out. And of course, I would be amiss if I did not talk about Ty Montgomery. What a revelation, huh? This guy.
No, that guy. Yeah, I had him on my team this year in our fantasy football league. But go
this
ahead.
guy.
I got a revelation right here. I had him on my team, bud. Go ahead.
Wow. When was the last time you saw a wide receiver transition to the running back position and do what this man has done? How many running backs did they lose along the course of the season? It's incredible. Eddie Lacy. You had Christine Michael in there. They got what's his name from the Chiefs? I don't even remember what his name was. And I mean, this guy was like the 5th or 6th running back on the season. And they were so desperate at running back, they had to convert him from wide receiver, and all he did was ball. So at $5,500, that's a great value. He is half the price of Le'Veon Bell, which I still believe Le'Veon Bell's still a good value right there at $10,300. But for $5,500, you're getting some good values there. Okay. So I'd stay away from Jordy, go for Aaron Rodgers, pay for him. It's going to be the best quarterback on the week, and maybe get you a stack with Adams and Cobb. So that's my take.
No, I love your take, but that was good. I would like to just say right now that this will have to be the end of our Fantasy Veterans podcast when it comes to DraftKings Fantasy Football. We are going to open the floor up to our just talking style, but yet we didn't want to put it all on one audio file. So I would like to close this out. I hate to interrupt it. I feel like we had a good thing going, but we already had to do this. But before we do this, do you know we have our first sponsor, Joe?
Whoa, wait a minute. Are we that big?
We blew up after the first episode. Maybe you didn't hear.
Oh, you're gonna need to tell me about this.
Joe, YouTube called me and they said we took down a server because we had 355 views.
Oh my God, you guys!
Obviously,
listen. I hope you've got insurance because our server caught on fire. The fantasy veterans.
No, we both agreed that we were gonna just talk, do one episode, turn it off. And then our motor kept running, thinking we cannot stop because all these other people are doing this. But we feel like we need to put our brand out there. We felt like we need to raise money for charities and veteran charities is what I was looking at. So just to do a quick recap, once again, I'm going to put my cousin's page out there, read her story. I don't care if you give or if you don't. Just appreciate the fact that you don't have to go through the struggle that this 3-year-old's going through. I wish. Okay, every time I think about it, I gotta carry on. Okay, so our new sponsor.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't even know he's their sponsor. I'm gonna just do this like with everything else I do in my life. Like seriously, I'm gonna choose my words correctly and try to tell you right now that this guy I know, I love, he's a great man, and he works for NP Dodge. He's a realtor in Omaha. I'll tell you what, he sold 2 of my houses. He sold my house when it was a buyer's market, and I didn't think I'd make a dime, yet still I made $4,800. You know that pinball machine I have in my basement that you play?
The X-Men one. I love it.
Yes, you can thank him because it was a buyer's market, and we shouldn't have made a dime, but somehow after we had to pay the fees of the sellers and buyers and closing and everything else, I still got a pinball machine out of this deal. I'm going to tell you right now, his name is Scott Lawrence. He works for NP Dodge. He is the best realtor in Omaha. And I promise you, he might say, Gabe, I wish you didn't do that. But you know, but I really don't care. I just am telling you right now, I appreciate this guy and want to put him out there. He once said to me, hey, if you want to pass my name out to Offutt Air Force Base members who are looking for houses, do it. Well, that's what I'm doing, Uncle Scott. I have our first sponsor, and this guy is so selfless that he, at one opportunity, my friend B. Jarose sold 3 houses, and the first of the 3 houses, he had a realtor who wouldn't return his call. She didn't want to even visit him. And I said, just go to my Uncle Scott. He'll bend over backwards. This is the same guy that I go golfing with. And all he does is answer phones the whole time and try to help out his clients, but yet still beats me at golf. And he's got a great short game, but I'll talk about this. He's the best realtor in Omaha. He's sold $1 million worth of houses. Best realtor, if you want to talk to him, dial 402-968-7268. Mind you, he doesn't know I'm doing this, yo.
Okay.
If anybody,
so we're sponsoring. We're promoting him. More like that's what we're doing.
We're promoting a guy who doesn't know we're promoting.
All right.
Him. But I'm going to choose my words correctly, and I'm going to say he's the most selfless, outgoing person. My friend B. Jarose, who I was telling you about, he sold, like I said, 3 of his houses, and on the 3rd house, Brian found his dream house. There was black mold in the ceiling, and that was almost a deal breaker. He took out of his commission and said, well, I'll give 2% back just to help these people out. I promise you, if you use the name Fantasy Veterans when you call him, he won't do that. But possibly if you have black mold in your house, as the inspection ruins
that black mold out.
Might. But I'm telling you right now, yeah, just tell black mold and you'll go down to 5%. But I'm telling you right now, this is the hardest worker in Omaha. I respect him so much. Scott Lawrence Realty. He works for NP Dodge. The number is 402-968-7268. If you need to email him, it's slawrence, how it sounds, LAWRENCE @npdodge.com. If you need to sell your house in Omaha, this is the guy to call. You got anything for me, bud?
There you have it. Okay. No.
So we are going to close out our second Fantasy Veterans Podcast. If you want to follow us on the after show, where we just talk about, I feel like we just talked about gibberish the whole time, but yet, gosh, we had great insight, Joe.
Wow.
And I'm going to tell you one thing, once again, why do you have to be so specific? I'm impressed. But I wish I was as specific as you, and once again, I'm impressed.
Hey,
So let's finish
we
this
balance
off.
each other out, buddy. And I'm not going to be on the fence. You're going to get a strong stance from me, right? I'm not saying you're on the fence, but I just like like to add a little something to put myself out there even more. We're putting ourselves out there. Why not go full hog, right?
No,
Yeah.
I like it. I would rather have that than somebody be like when you say, what does somebody want to eat? I like food. No, be specific. I appreciate that, Joe Young. We're going to move on to our after show podcast. You'll see me wearing the same shirt. It might be light outside because we might wait till tomorrow, but we'll see. But I'm telling you this right now. We like this. We'll see what happens. We're going to continue this, whether anybody likes it or not.
That's right. I've got one last thing. Please click the like button. Subscribe to our channel. And every time we come out with a new episode, you'll get it right there. So again, just by the simple fact of listening to our podcast, you in turn are contributing to veterans charities. And the same goes out to anybody who is looking to sponsor us or put ads on our show. Okay?
Can I just tell you something?
Yes.
Once again, overachiever. That wasn't in the script. I just like the fact that you are so passionate about us giving back to the veterans. But let me add something then. If we're going off the script, Joe, I'm going to do it too. Listen to Adam Carolla. I'm going to link everything of his to my page. This guy is the podfather of podcasting, and he's the only guy I listen to. This guy reminds me of my Uncle Happy. He's got an attitude that you wouldn't even understand. He's a grinder. He's a hard worker. He came from nothing. His best friend's Jimmy Kimmel. And I'm telling you what, if you listen to him, you'll appreciate him as I do. So thanks for listening to us.
Thank you.